When Millie is settled in bed, I go out to my garden. The back of the house faces west, and the mellow light of evening falls on the long lawn striped with shadows, and on the rosebed under the window where all the roses I've planted have names like little poems: Belle de Crécy, Celsiana, Alba Semiplena. It's so quiet, you can hear the fall of a petal from a flower. I remember how this sloping garden delighted me when I first came to this place, to Le Colombier. "Vivienne, darling, I want you to love my island," said Eugene when he brought me here, just married. I was pregnant with Blanche. Life was rich with possibility, and I did love it then as we sailed into the harbour, ahead of us St. Peter Port, elegant on its green hill. And I was charmed by Le Colombier, by its age and the deep, cool shade of its rooms, by its whitewashed walls and grey slate roof, and the wide gravel yard across the front of the house. In summer you can sit and drink your coffee there, in the leaf-speckled light. The house stands gable to the road, the hedge banks give us seclusion, we're overlooked only by the window of Les Vinaires next door, where the wall of their kitchen forms one side of our yard. It was all a little untidy when I first came to Guernsey, the gravel overgrown with raggedy yellow weed. With Eugene away in London, Evelyn wasn't quite managing. Now I keep the gravel raked, and I have pots of herbs and geraniums, and a clematis that rambles up and over the door, and I loved the little orchard on the other side of the lane that is also part of our land, where now the small green apples are just beginning to swell. And beyond the orchard, the woodland where there are nightingales. People here call the woodland the Blanc Bois, the white wood, which always seems strange to me because it's so dark, so secret, in there in summer, under the dense canopy of leaves. But my favourite part of it all is this garden sloping down to the stream. This garden has been my solace. I work through all my tasks carefully. I deadhead the roses, I water the mulberry and fig that grow in pots on my terrace. Even as I do these things, I think how strange this is, to tend my garden so diligently when tomorrow we may be gone. My hands as I work are perfectly steady, which seems surprising to me, but I step on a twig and it snaps, and there the fear comes at me. It's a physical thing, this dread, a shudder moving through me. There's a taste like acid in my throat. I put down my shears and sit on the edge of the terrace. I rest my head in my hands, think through it all again. Plenty of people have gone already, like Connie and Norman from Les Vinaires, shutting up their houses, leaving their gardens to go to seed. Some, like me, are still unsure. When I last saw Gwen, my closest friend, she said they couldn't decide, and others are sending their children without them with labels pinned to their coats. But I couldn't do that. I could never send my children to England without me. I know how it feels to be a motherless child. The shadows lengthen, the colours of my garden begin to recede, till the shadows seem more solid, more real than the things that cast them. I can hear a nightingale singing in the Blanc Bois. There's a sadness to evenings on Guernsey sometimes, though Eugene could never feel it. When I first came here, he took me on a tour of the island, and we stopped on the north coast and watched the sun go down over L'Ancresse Bay, all colour suddenly gone from the sky, the rocks black, the sea white and crimped and glimmering, the fishing boats black and still in the water, so tiny against that immensity of sea, and I felt a surge of melancholy that I couldn't explain. I tried to tell him about it, but it didn't make any sense to him. He certainly didn't feel it. I had a sense of distance from him, which soon became habitual. A sense of how differently we saw the world, he and I, but I feel bad even thinking such things, of the many ways in which we were unhappy together now that he's gone. There is a sudden scatter of birds in the sky. I flinch, my heart leaping into my throat. Little things seem violent to me. And in that moment my decision is made. I am clear, certain. We will go tomorrow. Blanche is right. We cannot just stay here and wait. Terrified by the snap of a twig or a flight of startled birds, we cannot. I go to the shed and take out my bicycle. I cycle up to the rectory to put our names on the list.